What?
There's a new marking on the wall. Holy fuck.
Really? So this is communication board. What's the new marking? What's the new marking?
On the chalkboard, the only chalk that's left is a piece of white chalk that I tied here. I use other color chalk. I've checked this for months. This is new.
That is
I
new.
did not draw that. I drew all this. There's me with my mohawk and when I have my goatee. This part of the ranch is pretty much the farthest point, and it's where I had originally set up kind of like a area to try to communicate with any creatures and feed them, and I've been having an incredible amount of luck. We started using a red plate because Linda Bradshaw used a red plate, and grapes. They go for grapes like overnight. Like I left 3 pounds of grapes. The plate was in the center of the table with 3 pounds of grapes. The next day they were all gone and the plate had not moved. So if an animal would have reached up and grabbed them, it's just a thin plastic red plate, it would have moved and slid. So there's something bizarre happening here for sure. And we've tried to use trail cams before and they wouldn't turn on in the location, so we couldn't use them. So now we're going to try this incredible offering that you put together and a trail cam and hopefully get something.
And they've been leaving things in return. It's kind of like a trading post, right?
Twice now we've had exchanges. The first time was before I even started feeding them. I left them a few gifts on the table and they left me a big rock right on the middle of the table. I still have that. And then about 6 months ago in the winter time, I hadn't fed them in a little while and I came out here and there was a green polished rock on the plate. And that confused me. It was a piece of aventurine. So somebody must have left that stone or dropped it or something out here, but whatever creature I'm feeding picked it up and put it in the middle of the plate. To me, I thought it looked like a grape, so that's why I started feeding them grapes. And that's when I realized it really, really took to the grapes very well, because I left like tomatoes and other things and they'd just sit there for weeks and rot and nothing would touch them. I painted a chalkboard on the wall outside to try and use it, see if I could get them to write something. And I tied a piece of chalk to the wall. Now I had this box here full of sidewalk chalk and it stayed that way for months. And then one day I came in, the box was exactly where I left it, but all the chalk was missing. All of it. And I had like 4 pieces out there, they're missing as well. And the weird thing about this is that the chalk's, I don't know if you ever bought one of these, the chalk's in there so tight that it's really a pain in the butt to get one out. But it took all the pieces out without moving the box. The box wasn't on the floor, or it was exactly where it was, but all the chalk was missing.
The exchange station was created to communicate and trade with the transdimensional beings of Bradshaw Ranch. This is the first time anything has been drawn back in response on the wall. Hoodoo asked the people he knows that know about this spot, and no one he spoke to drew it. It took some time, but I figured out what the symbol is from someone on Facebook, and it is quite obscure. I've only found 3 websites with any information on it. This exact same symbol was one of many different variations that reporters and investigators drew from the account of a 1964 UFO case. It was seen drawn in red on the side of a white oval craft by police officer Lonnie Zamora in Socorro, New Mexico. The craft was seen descending and landing on the ground. When Zamora caught up to the craft in his patrol car, he saw 2 beings in white coveralls standing beside it. He then witnessed the craft ascend back into the sky with blue and orange flames roaring below it. The version of the symbol that matched with the one on the ranch was originally drawn by J. Allen Hynek in his official notebook in his time leading the Project Blue Book investigations. But this is not the first time an old UFO case has been brought to attention at the ranch. In the book Merging Dimensions, Linda Bradshaw, who lived at the ranch, described an account of seeing a large rectangle of light appear then disappear in the sky. She took 2 photos of it and interpreted it as a portal opening then closing. Upon inspecting these photos, we can see that they appear to be a superimposed image in the sky of a famous UFO photograph taken in McMinnville, Oregon in 1950. Another interesting note is that Linda Bradshaw also mentioned receiving symbols of pyramid and triangle shapes drawn in the soil at her exchange station with the Bigfoot she fondly called Big Girl. This also sounds similar to the symbol we found, but the Hynek version from the Socorro case matches it perfectly. We must now ask ourselves, is there a pattern going on at Bradshaw Ranch which is pointing us towards old UFO cases? And if so, why?